Apparently, Grandma likes alcohol iced tea, but isn't much about tea in general. All right, guys. Today we're going to go over the interview room interview with Candace at the swimming hole. He did a lot with Candace. Dawn, wasn't as forthcoming, and he didn't get as much out of Dawn, but he got a lot with Candace before Dawn ended up getting PO'd and shut it down. Let's see here. Starts out, he basically gets her to kind of tell him a little bit about Summer. She talks about stuff Summer likes, this and that. She talks about Summer likes bracelets and jewelry. Typical girl stuff. I can see that. Then she talks about the swimming hole. She brings the kids there all the time, and it's pretty regular occurrence. My only thing about that is, if you look at the kids and Summer, they don't look like they get outside much. I'm just saying, now I know this is in June, so it hasn't been warm super long, but they look really pale for kids that spend as much time outside, out and about, as, Candace and Dawn say. Just an observation. And she says, she wants to keep her kids away from other kids because of sicknesses and stuff spreading around. I don't know about that. She doesn't like crowds. She just likes family. That's it. It's kind of odd, somebody that lets other people live with them, strangers come into their house and all that, only likes family. I thought that was an odd thing to say. And she says when they get to the swimming hole that Summer wants to get out and run to the water. But she's like, no, I have to walk you there because I'm hyper vigilant. I don't believe that. That's another thing, just like the walking her to the front door thing. I just don't believe that. Said Hunter went into the woods, I don't know where. And I mentioned this in another video. I thought that statement was just odd. I realized Chris is asking her where everybody's at and what they're doing and stuff, but I don't know. You would think, say he had to pee or something. We just said that, not like, oh, he went into the woods, I don't know where. I thought that was strange that she said that. For some reason, to me, that's something odd about that. She goes over where everyone was, just like in Hunter's interview, in the truck before they get out. Chris is real big into knowing that. Like I said, there's something to that. That's telling him something. Now she says she put Summer's bathing suit on at home because it was really hot out that day. Okay, now in Hunter's interview, he said that she changed Summer at his house. So that's, one of the many discrepancies between the two stories. She said, she put her on the bathing suit. It was small and thin because she tends to get hot. She says, they're at the lake. Candace is having to use a cane to get down the path and all this stuff. And they're walking real slow. And Summer's right there with them because she don't let Summer get out of her sight. Now, he asks her about the time. And just like Hunter, don't really volunteer anything. But all she gives out is that she left and took Candace to the hospital at 8. So that leaves a big void in the timeline. And she doesn't say that she texted Hunter. She says Hunter actually called her. Discrepancy number 7,000. Then she talks about Hunter's dad had come in with all these guys. They were supposed to move down here, but they didn't. that whole thing's fishy too. Like all these guys that come down there apparently were thinking about moving down there, and all of them just up and left like a day later, except for Jose. And I have some really bad feelings about the purpose for the men coming there and only staying a day and leaving. I think that could be a bad thing that they were doing. She says she don't know why Allie's mad. She don't know. She's Allie stuck her with Jose when she left. She got mad, left Jose with her. I don't know. I don't know who to believe. Her and Allie. Who? How do you pick one of the two? Neither one of them seem very truthful to me. Um, and then she talks about she has no idea why Hunter's saying Summer went under the water. So another thing, Hunter says she went under the water. Candace says no idea. Nothing even close to that happened. Um, then she states, she's filming the TikTok. Hunter throws up some gang signs, so she immediately gets it off of him because she don't want no gang signs to be in her TikTok, apparently. Then she says that Hunter was splashing Summer with water and she had to get onto him because Summer don't like that. Then she talks about there's trash everywhere down there where they're at. It's all over the place. And she states that tea was bought for Candace. Candace, who like her, don't like tea. They drink Mountain Dew. If you don't like tea, are you going to drink a beverage with alcohol in it that tastes like tea? No, I hate tea too. I can't stand it. So I definitely ain't going to, like a Long Island iced tea, the drink. You ain't going to see me order one of them. So says she told Hunter no on the vapes, but she don't know if he took one or not. Them vapes ain't cheap, man. I would know if one was missing, wouldn't you? She didn't see Hunter drink anything. After they left swimming, she says they went to Walgreens, then Sonic, then the grocery store. Which, that's kind of like Hunter's timeline. She says she took Hunter home. Summer was awake, and she says that Allie never came to the truck. There's another discrepancy. Y'all know Allie stated she had come to the truck. She wanted to hug Summer and all this. And Candace was like, no, we're in too big of a hurry. I don't know who to believe on that, but I almost would believe Candace before Allie because of their blow up they had. It would make more sense that she didn't come to the truck. I wouldn't swear to it, but, and we all know they both could be lying. Then Chris talks about Sonic, and she states, they just got slushies, no food. And a lot of people have talked about this. If you left the house at 8 o'clock and she never mentions getting Summer anything to eat, why ain't you feeding your kid? Then she goes over, Hunter makes TikToks. She thinks it's really important that everybody knows that Hunter lied about he doesn't make TikToks. I don't know why she feels like that's such a big deal. If he does, he does. Well, that's not really here nor there, I don't think. And now she's talking about Summer, and she says, Summer gets cold easy with the windows down. That's the reason she was dressed in all that long sleeve and all that stuff. So she went from telling us she put Summer in a bathing suit because it was so hot. Summer gets hot easy now to where, if the windows are down, Summer's freezing, so she has to wear long sleeves. And this is all in the same interview. She goes back and forth that much. She says, she sees Summer's face everywhere, and she makes that statement. Then she talks about how she was sleeping. Okay. Now this, I think, could be an issue right here. She says that they didn't catch Summer sleeping like she was because Grandma hit the video button. Well, if you have any common sense, you know, then when you hit the video button, you would have just seen her sleeping, like Candace talked about. Just because she took a video instead of a picture doesn't mean she wouldn't have caught that. She would have still caught it. It just been on video, right? All that, there's so many just little discrepancies about that it's unbelievable. There's something about that that's just a lie. I know what a lot of people think is the reasoning for her propped up on the milk jugs. I want to hope that ain't true. But the more I look into it, the more I'm starting to think that that's a fairly good possibility. I hate to say that, but she talks about when she gets home, the boys help with the groceries, even though it's been said she was just in the store for a minute. Now there's so many groceries, the boys are having to help. They have to take them inside, sort through everything, split her stuff up from Candace's stuff, and all this. Another inconsistency. And she says, and now all this isn't in perfect order because they bounce back and forth, but then she goes back to talking about she didn't plan on Hunter even going anywhere with her, none of that stuff. She says, she makes it out like the boys were left at home alone because she didn't think she'd be gone long. Well, I mean, you know, it's going to be a couple hours. I mean, in a good trip to the emergency room. So how did you think it was just going to be lightning fast? And then if you didn't think it was going to be long, why would you go through that? That just makes no sense. You know, if she planned on hurrying, why did she make the 15 pit stops she did that day? If you don't plan on being gone long, why were you gone so long, and why did you do so much? She's trying to give the idea out that, you know, she don't leave the boys at home alone by themselves. And I'm not even on her for that, really. You know, I ain't sure how old the oldest one was, but I think he's old enough to watch the other two for a little while. You know, I mean, I let my boys watch Taylor for an hour here or there. Of course, you know, my oldest is 16, so. She says Allie doesn't do anything with the kids. That's why, you know, she's taking them here and there and this kind of stuff. And this I found interesting because this, once again, is a huge discrepancy. It's said by Hunter and them that they hadn't, you know, talked since the big blow up with Jose, and I think I heard Allie even confirm that. But yet Candace says 3 or 4 months ago they went over to Allie's and they took Hunter to Ducktown. I don't know what that is. It's probably some kind of amusement place. I have no idea. If you guys in Tennessee know what that is, let me know. And she says, you know, Allie's saying all this oddball stuff because she's trying to get back at her. Now, flash forward, they get back to where she's back at home. They sort the groceries out. She's doing laundry because, quote, her kids have so many clothes. Every one of them's got at least 80 pairs of pants. Oh, bullshit. You know how little kids grow so fast. Each one of them got 80 pairs of pants. Come on, man. That's ridiculous. And if you've seen some of the hideous stuff that poor little Summer was wearing in church, like dresses with look like sweatpants or jeans underneath it, it's awful. She steps out of the front, I guess onto that scaffolding or steps or whatever you want to call it. She sees her mom, and, you know, Candace is wanting to get flowers transplanted. It's big, have to do, got to be done. So they're worried about transplanting flowers. Now, if you've seen the landscaping around the Wells property, that doesn't hold water to me. I don't see anything around there that looks like it's been well maintained, period. So that is odd to go along with all the other things that day that seem out of character, that's just one more. We were really excited for planting flowers. I don't know. And everybody's seen them little pots and stuff they planted flowers in. It looked like there was weeds in there that had grown and stuff, and that takes a little while. I don't think the flower planting part ever took place at all. Then talks about when she goes to get Summer to plant flowers, that she's in there playing with these dolls and stuff. And I think what she's talking about, because I asked a subject matter expert, which is my daughter, is LOLs. See these guys? These are LOLs. The big eyes. She says now that they're animals with the big eyes, that they're not LOLs. But I'm pretty convinced they make LOL animals too. Not just the dolls, but they make little animals with the big eyes. It's funny how a dad knows that, but a mom don't. 30, 40, 50 minutes she gives about how long this all takes. So once again, just like Hunter and just like she started off with, leaving that timeline just as open as possible. You're doing that to hedge your bet. You don't want to get caught up on something. And then that's actually where that falls in, that her and her mom drink Mountain Dew. They don't like tea. And like I said, well, you damn sure wouldn't be drinking alcoholic tea if you didn't even like tea to begin with. I don't think. Would you? Y'all let me know. Would you drink an alcoholic beverage that you didn't like as just a beverage? I wouldn't. Then she says, she makes sure she adds this. After they planted flowers, they wash their hands and Grandma give Summer some candy. I've seen poor little Summer's feet stuffed dirty as it can be. So there's another one of them things that I have trouble with. Then she tells that BS story about Summer walking Summer to the door and all that. And then, she's talking about telling the brothers that, and she makes a statement, my boys do not lie. All little boys will tell a lie every now and then. So I don't know why you kid yourself with that. And it's weird, like when she's telling the time right when Summer's disappearing and right when she realizes she's gone, there's no emotion. And you would think that would be a spot where that emotion would come up, even a little bit, and there's none of that. She says, she sent the boys looking for Summer, and that, and she said, and then she says, after she talks about she sent the boys looking for Summer, she says, that's what I do, I freak out. And I got the feeling that she meant that she freaks out every time Summer comes up missing, and it happened quite frequently. And if you listen to the Hunter interview, he states that too, that he's heard that Candace actually called him saying Summer was missing before a few times. So that makes me think, the supervision of Summer was horrible. I'd guarantee that. I'm not even going to play around. I'm not even going to act like we ain't sure. They didn't watch that little girl. Then she talks about switching phones when calling 911. Well, if the phone you called Don on was good enough to reach him in Jonesboro, why ain't that phone good enough to call 911? Why switch phones? Right? That's odd to me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, maybe one gets a little better reception than the other. But if I'm in that desperation, I ain't switching shit. I'm calling 911 right then, right there. I'll stand exactly where I'm at because it was getting a signal to call Dawn. Why'd you switch phones? Is there a clue in that, maybe? I'm not sure. Then she talks about she got in her truck. She went everywhere up and down the roads, and she seen nothing. She acted like there was nothing, like it was a barren wasteland when she went looking for Summer. No cars, no trucks, no people, no animals, nothing. I don't know. I wish there was some surveillance footage around this area, but there's not, I'm sure. I got cameras all over my house, so any you wise guys get any ideas, you won't be on camera. And you might be the last picture they see of you. So somebody snuck up. Chris asks her what, she thinks happened. Somebody snuck up took her. It happens all the time. Well, it don't happen out in rural ass Tennessee all the time like where you live. I guarantee you that. Then he's like, well, what percentages? Well, give me a percentage. She's like, 50-50 it was an abductor. That makes no sense. They've always swore him down. It has to be an abductor, nothing else. So why is it 50-50? She should have said 100%, right? Somebody got Summer and they're keeping her away from us. I hope that's right too. I hope that is the case because I have a pretty good feeling if somebody else had her, there's a good chance she was probably she was in better shape than she was before. Then she talks about, she had no idea about all these sex offenders living around them. Why not? You wait till your daughter goes missing to check that? Not this dude. I check it on the regular. It's just me. Just this guy. Talks about Summer wouldn't go in the woods because there's bears, coyotes, wild dogs. I don't know how many wild dog packs are running around Tennessee, but damn, y'all's woods are dangerous. I've stayed in Tennessee 5-10 times in cabins up there. I ain't seen a bear yet. I'm not saying they're not there, but she acts like it's just like the Sahara Plains in Africa or something. That it's just wildness everywhere. It's weird how scared they seem to be about the woods, and they live out in the country like that. It's strange that they're so terrified of the woods. Don't make much sense to me. Then Candace mentions the swing, and they start to go into that, and then poof, another cut. Now, up until that point, and this is near the end, there had been 0 cuts. So once again, I'm wondering if there was something to that, because I think he's cutting them for a reason. I really do, because there were 0 cuts before that. She basically denies everything Hunter said about the phone call with Dawn. Said none of that was right. I don't know. It seems like a weird thing for Hunter to tell out of just midair, to pull that out of midair, thin air, I'm sorry. It seems odd to me. It just really, that don't seem right to me. Then she mentions Jackie Dobbs and that the blue van was at the neighbor's house. So she's trying to throw some, suspicion toward that. You can tell. Then she needs her a smoke break. Chris is like, all right, have you a smoke? I'm cool. Don't worry about me. Then, he gets her talking again. She talks about, the disappearance of Rose was bad, but this thing with Summer is 2 times worse. So odd, 2 people in a family that close together, a sister and a daughter, disappear. Nobody knows. It's really, really strange. She talks about everyone's against her and everybody's hating on her and all this stuff. Then she says she knows she was abducted because Summer is never out of her sight. And I think we all know what we think about that statement. Then she talks about Don was in Jonesboro that day working. We've all heard that. I don't know. I don't know if he was or if he wasn't. I think he was definitely probably seen in Jonesboro that day, but, it's an hour. There's some playtime, and I get the idea. Don's kind of a contractor. So there'd be a lot of times when he'd be by himself, or he could be. I'm not going to pretend like I know exactly how his day went, but I find that strange. Then she talks about when she calls Dawn, that Dawn's first reaction is, are you playing with me? So that's like him, Dawn, and Hunter, who both thought when she called them that it was a joke, maybe. That tells you she's done shit like this before, and that is horrible. to think a mother has been either wrong about her kid missing or joking about her kid missing more than once. Either way, that's horrible. Then she says, and they're like, what's Candace doing, when the search is starting and all this? And she's like, oh, she's sitting there screaming for Hummer because she can't walk far. She can't get down that driveway. It's too rough. But she can walk around the pond and all that. Another discrepancy. I don't like none of the stuff with Candace. And I'm just going to say that. That's basically the interview at the lake. I'm going to try to get in next the interview from the house and go over that because there's some weird stuff. I know somebody mentioned about what was playing on the TV downstairs when they were filming. I'm going to check that out. I'm going to freeze frame it and see if I can get a definite identifier of exactly what that was because it did look a little triple X possibly. I don't know. It was odd. One thing I wanted to add though, and I seen this yesterday or today, recently, Candace finally comes out and breaks her big silence, outside of some text messaging, which, I'm not positive that was her or not, but she has said basically nothing this whole time. Well, she come out and she had a statement. And I was like, all right, let's see what Candace has got to say. Well, Candace wanted to tell everybody that she don't like being called Candace. That was Candace's big news. I don't like being called Candace. Now, Candace, I don't know why you don't like being called Candace. Candace is a sweet name, if you ask me. Candace.